In an astonishing turnaround from the gloom of Jeremy Hunt's autumn statement, the Chancellor boasted today that Britain will dodge a recession. The economy is still forecast to shrink 0.2% this year, but it's not going to see 2 consecutive quarters of falling GDP growth, which is the technical definition of a recession. Nonetheless, with a cost of living crisis still raging at the same time as interest rates have risen substantially, the Office of Budget Responsibility warned that we still face the worst decline in living standards since records began. Meanwhile, thanks to Mr Hunt's tax hikes last November, we also face the highest tax burden since the Second World War. A silver lining is the introduction of something called full expensing for businesses. This is a seemingly dry budget addition that could boost business investment and productivity. It allows all the money a company invests in IT equipment, plant or machinery to be deducted in full from taxable profit. And the idea is that this will encourage them to invest more. The headline measures in the budget were a major shake-up to pension saving. This abolished the lifetime allowance altogether, and it hiked the annual allowance to £60,000. These are limits on the amount that people can save into their pensions without tax penalties, and they mainly affect high earners. The lifetime allowance was expected to rise to £1.8 million from just under £1.1 million, but instead it will be abolished altogether. It caps the total size of pension pots, so it also includes investment growth, and it's highly controversial, particularly as it had been repeatedly cut at one point all the way down to £1 million. Before the change today, the £1.07 million lifetime allowance would have brought a pension income of about £43,000 a year. That's a lot, but for those who are retiring off salaries, maybe, top 5 figures, lower 6 figures, it isn't a huge amount. The annual allowance caps the amount that people can put into a pension each year. It's going to rise from £40,000 to £60,000, but it will still be tapered down for those who earn more than £200,000. Now, both these measures help high earners or those with already substantial pension pots, and they're aimed at keeping older professionals, particularly doctors, in work. There is a change that is more likely to benefit more normal earners, and that's to pension recycling rules. Workers past the age of 55 can take money out of their private pension, but they can still continue to save into one. So, for example, you might find people here who have retired from work, started drawing on a pension, then got back to work, or they're working a bit whilst drawing on a pension. Now, they're limited as to how much they can pay into a pension at the moment of £4,000, which is called the money purchase annual allowance. That's going to rise to £10,000, and this is something that possibly have more of an effect in terms of getting more over 50s back into work than the changes that just affect those with very big pensions or who are high earners. The bad news was that the budget didn't involve any real extra help with the cost of living crisis, but it also didn't see the existing help removed either. Fuel duty was frozen for the 13th year in a row after the Chancellor said that he would extend the 5p a litre cut for another 12 months. There were concerns that that would be taken away. Meanwhile, the energy price guarantee that freezes the price cap at £2,500 will continue until the end of June. This was due to rise to £3,000 in April, although that would still have been below the energy price cap, which is set by Ofgem. All very confusing, but the good news is that energy prices have fallen substantially, and while this hasn't fed through to bills yet, it is expected to start to in the summer, and some say cheaper fixed-rate deals may even be about to return. Childcare is a major burden for Britain's working parents. It is amongst some of the most expensive in Europe, and it is blamed for preventing some parents of young children from working because it makes it uneconomical to do so. They spend so much money on childcare that there is no point in them going out to work. Preschool children currently who are aged 3 and 4 get 30 hours free childcare a week. That's going to be extended to children over the age of 9 months. The problem is that this is going to be phased in gradually. So from April 2024, there will be 15 hours of free childcare for 2-year-olds. Then from September 2024, there will be 15 hours free childcare for over 9-month-olds. And then from September 2025, there will be 30 hours worth of free childcare for all children over the age of 9 months. There's still a catch here. Any parents where one of them earns more than £100,000 don't benefit at all. And this creates a huge cliff edge for those who do earn more than that, especially if they would have had their children in full-time childcare. Also, the delay in bringing it in is probably not going to encourage that many people to suddenly rush out and find themselves a job. But the government has said that they need to phase it in order to make sure that nurseries aren't overwhelmed and they have enough staff. The good news for nurseries is that funding is going to be increased from the government for this childcare, although many of them say that it's still not enough.